Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Bridget Phillipson is Labour's Education Secretary, and boy, does she need to go back to school. She's claiming that in this country there is a north-south divide when it comes to educational standards. And the very fact that she says it's a north-south divide shows she doesn't understand what she's talking about, because there is no north-south divide. The divide isn't between the north and the south. The divide is between rich and poor. That is the problem. It's not geography, it's economics. The figures have shown, now that they've been released, and you're looking at the results between the different, locations is how she's looking at it, that there is a remarkable difference of 8% between the north and the south, and she's attributing it to where you live. And of course, that's not it, or at least that's not it directly. The very best results are shown to be those whose children go to public schools. So if you're Eton or Harrow or Rugby or one of the minor public schools, you're fine, because you're paying ka-ching a lot of money for little Johnny and little Lucinda to sit in a class with maybe only 15 or 18 pupils, where a teacher has a lot of time to spend with each child to ensure that what they're trying to teach gets in there. And these are the children as well of usually very well-educated parents who are willing to sit and work, and they have the time to work with their children as well and push the importance of education. It's money. They're probably doing so as well in very nice, quiet, sedate houses, well away from distractions, not having police cars and helicopters flying over all day, because they're in leafy Surrey. They're not sitting there in, say, the centre of Rotherham. And they get the best results. Money. And then they say, well, why is the South better? Well, the South, generally, again, is more affluent. It's not the fact that you're living in the North that is the problem. It's the fact you're living in affluence. And in and around the London area, not in the, not in the scummy areas of bits of London, south of the river, not this time, mate, but in, the more suburban areas, but generally in the South, more money and better, higher quality of living. And that's why this happens. And that's why there's more time. There's more investment. You go to the north, tends to be a lot more unemployment, a lot more poverty. Children aren't necessarily in the best place physically and mentally to be learning. And so for Phillipson to come up and say it's a location thing, it's a geographical difference, is quite wrong. It isn't geographical, it's financial, it's economic. And that's the problem. Now, there's always been these attempts, shall we say, to kickstart the North, to invest in the North. And every government threatens to do it. And strangely, they never do. They never want to invest in the North. And sure, there are, don't get me wrong, some very, very, very affluent, very well off, very beautiful places in the North. One only has to think of, for example, Harrogate, or places in Cheshire, for example. There are some, spectacularly wealthy areas, very nice areas in the North. But by and large, you think of the North, and you're thinking, Bradford. You're thinking Burnley. You're thinking Sunderland. You're not thinking the likes of Harrogate. You're not thinking, Alderley Edge and things like that. It's what comes to mind, isn't it? You're more Coronation Street, aren't you? You're not thinking the grassy uplands of East Sussex, because poverty. And it is that is the difference. And so when these politicians go on about, oh, well, look, it's a north-south divide, they have to ask themselves why that divide exists and what they're going to do about it. And it would actually help if you had an educational secretary who was in some way at some point in her life educated. Thanks a lot. Bye.